gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Stuck in the Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, AK. In the building today, we have the founder and CEO of Esquire Meals, a gourmet, health-conscious meal prep company based out of Baltimore, Maryland. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Kenneth Watson to Stuck in the Podcast.
Thank you.
How you doing, sir?
I'm doing all right. It's Friday, and so I'm just glad that the weekend is finally here, although that's when business really picks up for me.
Yeah. Talking to Mike. Don't be shy. Don't be shy. Man, let's get into it. Who is Kenneth Watson?
That is a good question. Kenneth Watson is just a boy from North Carolina, honestly and truthfully. It's been a very interesting path to get to where I am today, but it's been nothing but great things, I can say. Even the bad stuff, I really enjoyed those experiences because they made me who I am today.
Oh, man. Before creating Esquire Meals, and, shout out to Ali Mufa, by the way. She had an expo February 24th,
yes,
I believe. Yeah, February 24th. You were part of that?
Yes, it was an amazing expo. It was at Coppin State, and it was all about just getting the community excited and engaged in health. And so she had fitness instructors, different food vendors, as well as people taking other individuals' blood pressure. So it's really all about how can I be in the best shape of my life so that I can enjoy the quality of life that I'm having.
Right. Before Esquire Meals, before that, you were a lawyer.
Yes.
Talk a little bit about that.
It wasn't fun. And even before being a lawyer, I was actually very, very deep in the technology field. Undergrad, I went to North Carolina Central University.
Is that right?
Yes, the best HBCU in the land, I will say. And so I studied political science there because I always wanted to go to law school. My father is a doctor, and we have the same name as well. And so we'd always say, you have to be better than me. Mm-hmm. So growing up, I'm always like, well, what is better than a doctor? Because I failed biology a couple of times. And so to me, it was a lawyer. And so I went to school to be a lawyer. And it was very interesting. I hated law school.
Man.
I remember the first year I called my mom, was like, Mom, I don't want to do this. I want to drop out. Let's just go ahead and count this out early. It's okay. And then she was like, we had a big party for you to go to law school. You should really do it. I mean, you already started. Just go ahead and go with it. Right. So I went through with it, finished law school at Catholic, did the legal thing for a little bit, but in law school is where I really truly started my company. I took a break from undergrad to law school, and I went to go live with my godparents. Mm-hmm. And my godparents are totally different than my real parents, right. Because my real parents are from North Carolina, and they are Southern bred, and that's how they eat. I mean, it's fried chicken, macaroni and cheese, collard greens. It is everything that you really love to eat, but it's horrible for our community. It's like that one
song they had during Thanksgiving, green cheese, potatoes,
exactly, but it was like that every day of the week. Like we ate like that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Like it was really good. But then when I went to go live with my godparents, it was totally different. They don't eat chemicals, preservatives, no beef, no pork, barely any poultry. And my godmother taught me that everything that you put in your body has to have a purpose because it can either cure you or it can kill you. And I really didn't pay attention to that until I really started to see how they were at their age compared to some of my other family members at the same age. Like they were doing taekwondo and yoga. My godmother was standing on her head at 56 and 58. Wow. My godfather is like a fourth black belt doing high kicks and stuff. And then I see people back in North Carolina who are the same age with a leg amputated. So right. I'm like, there's some type of connection, right? I see you're eating like this and you look like this, and they're eating like this and you look like this. Right. And so when I went off to law school, so I moved from Connecticut to DC to go to law school, and I was getting back into my old ways in North Carolina. So I'm starting to go back to Popeyes and eating the things that I was used to, and I started to see the gut develop. That was the main thing. The real reason I started was the gut. I wanted to look good on the beach. And so I started to prep my meals for myself because I would be in school all day. Mm-hmm. And then I would be in the library all night. And so I really needed to have that access to healthy food. And then my colleagues would say, hey, Kenneth, can you make me a couple of meals? That chicken looks really good, or that salmon looks really good. Can you make me something? So I'll make some for a few. And that's when Instagram started to get really big. So and the pictures in the beginning of the Esquire Meals look horrible because I would just post whatever, like this is what I'm eating today. And then strangers.
Are they currently up right now? The pictures?
Probably. If you were to scroll that far, because I'm not deleting. If you see them like they're horrible, I'll post them on a Throwback Thursday one day. But strangers will reach out, can you prep meals for me? So I'm like, oh, okay, sure. I'll do this. And so I was prep meals for people here and there. And then right after law school, I had my first job out of law school was the worst job I've ever had. It was totally different than any internships.
What was it?
I was a health policy analyst for this company out in Silver Spring. And I loved doing what I did, but the person I worked under was just one of those horrible bosses. He told me there is no open door policy, one of those type of bosses.
Wow.
And so clearly I didn't work there very long. But then making these meals were the only ways that I could survive. So I stopped working there. I got my severance pay. And for 2 years, Esquire Meals kept me abreast. And so I said, well, I'm going to go back into the corporate world, get a little bit of money, and then I'm going to allow Esquire Meals to make money on its own.
Right.
And so I went back into the corporate world for about 2 to 3 years. And then this January, actually on Martin Luther King Day, I decided that I did not want to do the corporate world anymore. Let my dreams make my money for me. And so it really just took off from there. And it's been a roller coaster ride ever since.
That sounds amazing. It even sounds too good to be true. You know what I mean? Like, because most entrepreneurs, that we talk to, always say, "Oh, I quit my job and I started this." Bro, like the idea of actually quitting your job. First off, I'm thinking that constant check coming in every 2 weeks, no more. That's already a fear right there. Like, I'm already frightened by that. You know what I mean? So to actually wake up and do that, that's like, kudos to you. You know
it was definitely scary, but I can say that I've been around entrepreneurs my whole life. My father had his own practice. He's a doctor. He had his own practice, as well as my godparents had their own company. And so I've always been surrounded by entrepreneurs, and I knew that was a route that I would want and need to go one day. But as well as, I will say you have to be very careful about what you write down. And so at the end of 2017, I was working with my team. I said, we need to create an action plan. Everybody does the vision board stuff. I don't believe in vision board. I believe in action plans. It's cute to cut up pictures and say, I want this mansion one day, but how are you going to get that mansion? Let's write down obtainable steps to figure out how we're going to get to that goal. And so one of the things that I wrote down is that I want to leave my job in 2018. And so I turned it into the team. We talked about how we were going to get there. And then like the universe just kind of set me up for like 3 weeks later for me to be able to leave. Like my job became so uncomfortable that it was no need for me to stay there anymore. Right. And that's why I said you have to be very careful what you ask the universe for, because it will provide it for you, even when you're not ready. But then now I'm looking at it, we're here in at the April. I haven't lost my house. I haven't lost my car. So something is going right. And it's so much more fun to wake up at 4:00 in the morning and work for Esquire Meals than it was to wake up at 6 and go to DC and work for someone else every day.
And that commute too, man. That commute was horrible.
Tell me about it.
It is horrible. Let me put it out. It is, because I'm currently doing it, so it's horrible, man. But question, have you ever read the book, The Alchemist?
I haven't read it thoroughly. I've read a couple of passages in it.
Right.
And my godfather told me I needed to read it, and I haven't. So
I think you should, just because you said, you laid a couple landmarks and the universe conspired to make all these things happen for you. That's the exact message in that book, actually. You should definitely read that. And
that's why I want to read it. So when I get some time, it's on my to read list, because I'm all about that. If you ask for the universe to provide for you, it definitely will, but you have to be ready to receive it.
Yeah.
And so you have to be very, very careful about the things that you say and how you plan your life. I'm always, I'm a big advocate for that. And you create your future. And talking to people, they're like, well, you have this lavish life because your father's a doctor. No, my father was a doctor.
What's a doctor?
It's not like we didn't grow up in Mercedes Benzes and going to private schools and all this other stuff, but there was a certain type of life that I knew that I wanted to have for myself.
Right.
And so in order to get that, how can I get to experience these type of luxuries? And so this is my path to my luxuries, and it's very different. I mean, I'm sure my parents think that I'm crazy because I have a JD and now I'm cooking for people, right?
Yeah.
Like I didn't need to go through all these years of schools to do this, but I truly enjoy what I'm doing. And it's still providing me with the things that I had when I had a check coming in every 2 weeks. And don't get me wrong, having that check every 2 weeks, it's great.
Right.
But the stress and drama that comes with getting that check, and the fact that you're kind of losing a little bit of yourself every day that you go to that job, is what I was really afraid of, because I saw myself getting lost. And the more that I would make in that corporate job is the more that I would get. And so I had to stay there longer to kind of pay it off.
Right.
But I can still do that same type of thing by following my passion and my dream, right? Because I'm up at 2:00 in the morning writing down plans and figuring out how to make Esquire Meals as big as McDonald's. Like, that's my goal. I want Esquire Meals to be as big as McDonald's, and it can be, but I am the one that's driving that force.
Definitely.
Instead of me trying to create something for someone else who's making millions of dollars.
Right.
Like, before I left, the company was performing at 30% more revenue than when I first got there. And I'm not going to say that it was only because of me, but it was only because of me. But they weren't giving me any 30% raise to equal that 30% increase in revenue. But now if I do that same thing at Esquire Meals, that is definitely a possibility. Or I can bring somebody else on to show them that this is how life can be when you work. And that's my real goal, is to be a social enterprise. I want to bring on other little black boys or black girls to say, look, there's life outside of being a rapper, a model, a singer, a makeup artist, or whatever it is. Like, you could just follow your passion and you can do it well. Just
follow your passion. Man, what is Esquire Meals?
So Esquire Meals is a health-conscious gourmet meal prep company. And I know that sounds like a bunch of garble when you first hear it, but it's a way of eating the type of food that you love, but it's still healthy for you. So we have like sweet potato waffles, oven fried baked chicken. And I will tell somebody, first off, you will not lose 10 pounds in the first week eating Esquire Meals, because this is a lifestyle change. And I want people to understand that they can still eat well throughout their life, but still be in the best shape of their life. Because you can't survive off of those fad diets, such as the grapefruit diet, where you're eating like grapefruit and hard-boiled eggs for 18 meals a day or whatever. You can't survive off of that. Of course, you'll lose those 10 pounds in that week, but the following week, when you go back to eating however you were, you'll gain 20 pounds back. And that's not healthy for your body. You need to change your mind. And so Esquire Meals is all about that health-conscious food. Like, it's not a piece of toast and avocado. We're giving you French toast, but it happens to be on Ezekiel bread and with real maple syrup, not the table syrup from the Aunt Jemima's bottle. And so trying to figure out, how can I turn the food that I used to love to eat back in North Carolina, mix it with the healthy alternatives that my godmother taught me in Connecticut, and marry them together so people can consistently lose weight, do well, or gain weight, but just have a better quality of life.
It's all about that quality, not quantity.
Exactly.
Yeah. What kind of services does Esquire Meals provide?
So because we're growing, it's like a monster right now. So outside of meal preparation, where we prepare your meals for you at either breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, we have keto. We've been getting into catering as well. We do intimate dinners. We actually have an intimate dinner at my house planned for the 13th and the 14th. It's a big one that I plan quarterly, and it's called Dine. And so Dine is where I get together around 20 to 25 people. They purchase tickets and they come to my house, and we have a 3-course dinner. And so I want to show them that the gourmet meals that I prepare for them on a weekly basis can also be on a plate, and you can sit down and have it over drinks as well. Like, it's the same type of meals you would have in your meal prep container, but it's put in a fancy way. And so we have like over 600 candles. There's flowers everywhere. The night is very intimate. And as well as, I want to show that us as African Americans can get together, dress well, and have just a nice conversation over drinks. I think we're kind of getting away from that formal sit down dinner where we just put our cell phones and our smart watches away and just talk to people face to face. And so that's the goal of Dine, is really for us just to sit down and have a conversation and see how we can work together. And then the following day, we're having brunch, where there's unlimited mimosas. We have spoken word and live music, and it's really another avenue for us just to get together, talk, and see how we can strategically work together as African Americans, because we all have these very special skills that I feel like if we just talk together, we can figure out how we can help each other get to the next point.
Do you feel like we're so divided that even when we get to having conversations, we still feel a lot divided? I don't know if that makes sense.
It does, and I feel like we've been socially trained to kind of put up a front that everything is great. And me coming into this entrepreneur world, I talk to other entrepreneurs who are at different levels, and I say that back in Africa, we had a tribe mentality, right? That's our culture, is that we help one another. We work together. We work better when we work together. over here in America is when we were taught that, we don't talk about our finances. We don't talk about the issues that we're having in our home. But that's not how originally our people worked together. We were in a tribe, and it was that community aspect. Your mother could whoop me and vice versa. And that's how we grew up. And so we have to get out of that mind frame and figure out, okay, I'm struggling here. And it's not because I'm not smart enough, but because business can kind of take over your life, and you just have to talk to somebody who might have those little keys and those notes to kind of get you to the next step, or say, well, I have two hands, let me help you out.
Right.
And so without having that conversation, you don't know what you don't know.
That's facts. So for this dinner you're talking about, is it just for those who are subscribed to Esquire Meals, or is it open to the general public?
It's really open to the public. It started off for only subscribers of Esquire Meals because a lot of my customers have never met me.
Yeah.
They see me on social media or whatever, and I cook for them, and they don't never have a chance to hear the Esquire Meals story. So the first dine was definitely just for customers, for me to say, this is how it started. It started for me having that horrible job, and they may say I got fired, I say I quit. It was very, 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 very just a bad job. From it starting to where it's going. So from us moving from me cooking in my house to a commercial kitchen, to getting an LLC, to starting to offer snacks and juices, and the goal of bringing in people from the community to teach them how to cook well is also, because my goal is, although I want more and more customers, I don't want them to be stuck on Esquire Meals, right? Because if the mother only eats my meals and the child is eating chicken nuggets and fries, what are we teaching that child when he gets older? He needs to know more healthier alternatives that he has access to. And I live in one of the biggest food deserts in West Baltimore. And so if there's only carryouts and liquor stores on the corner, what does that say about that child's future? I mean, I really want to get ingrained in the community so that they can understand that food can still taste good and be healthy for you. There was one event that I did, and there was like 50 kids around, and kids have a lot of energy. So sometimes they make me nervous because you never know what's going to come out their mouths.
Yeah.
And he tried my sweet potato vegan curry. I was really nervous for the child to even pick up, because I'm like, you sure you just don't want to try some of the grilled chicken? He was like, no, I want that. Okay. So I gave it, he was like, this is really good. And even I was shocked that a child around 7 to 8 was enjoying sweet potato vegan curry.
Yeah.
And so it's those things. If you don't put it in front of them, or if they never see it, they'll never try it.
That's true.
And then they get started on this track of just eating horrible food in and out, and they teach their children how to eat horrible food, and then then they're trying to figure out, well, why am I losing a leg now because of diabetes? Or I have to take this insulin shot, or I'm having a stroke or a heart attack. Like, these are things that can be prevented if you just change what you're putting in your mouth.
Right. That's true. That's true. Growing up, our parents used to hide food from us, or drinks, for example. So sodas and stuff growing up, those were like hard commodities. Like,
really?
They would save them away from us. They wouldn't even want us to touch it. And then when we come here, it's easily available to us. So we go from a place where these things are luxury to a place where it's just everywhere. And now you're finding better and bigger avenues to actually keep yourself healthy. I was actually thinking about it the other day, and I was like, it's funny how life changes on you just like that. You don't even know. And most people now, they do a lot of medication. Meanwhile, if they had, taken the healthier path, eating good food and stuff, probably they won't be taking as much medication as they are right now.
Exactly. I remember growing up, all my friends would say, I don't like the taste of water. What does water taste like?
Yeah.
It's that you're just not used to drinking water. I never understood that. Even growing up, like, Kool-Aid was the water in my house. Like, it wasn't mandatory that you drunk a certain amount of water, but your body is made up of 98% of water. So without this type of stuff in your body, you're not functioning well. And so if we continue down that path, what do you expect? You're going to be stuck on this medication, and medication isn't made to cure the issue. that's not how the pharmaceutical companies become these billion-dollar industries. If medication could fix you and you never have to take medication again, they would not make money. They make money off of people being sick.
Right.
And so you also have to think about all those side effects that come with that medication, right? Like, and this is what my godmother was ingraining in my head when I was with her after undergrad. And she was like, so there's one medication that cures your high blood pressure, makes you drowsy, sleepy, may give you bloody nose, you may fall asleep at the wheel, erectile dysfunction. All of these, this has like a laundry list of side effects, but it'll lower your blood pressure. But also just eating well and exercise will lower your blood pressure as well. So why can't we take the easy route of just changing our diet? Why are we so connected to the food that we put in our mouths that we can't say this is killing us? But I'd rather take this pill that's going to alter everything
in your system. Right.
It's easier just to take that pill and still eat bad, right? And you still have the gut. You're still not playing with your children because you're tired, you're sleepy, you're worried that if you don't want to get your heart pumping too fast. Like, look at the quality of life you have on that medication. Is it the quality you want? You can't even go up a flight of steps without getting winded. But you have small children who want to play and want to see you live and thrive. Like, you really have to look at the situation as more than just you, because there's people that love and care for you and want to see you live long.
Right.
But you are so stuck in having the macaroni and cheese and fried chicken. And through our conversation, I'm always going to pick on fried chicken and macaroni and cheese because it's my favorite meal. Like,
why do we get tired when we eat? Is that supposed to happen?
Not naturally. I mean, of course, after you eat, you may not have this burst of energy, but becoming lethargic in the ways that you would eat when, or have the itis, I think.
Yeah,
is what is not truly natural, because you're not supposed to eat until you're full. And I think that is one of the biggest misconceptions that people have. And whenever they see an Esquire Meals tray, they like, this food will not fill me up. But I'm like, well, look at the size of your stomach, not the size of your gut, but the size of what a stomach is supposed to be. It's not that big. And so because you're supposed to be eating a bunch of small meals throughout the day. And so if we retrain our brains to say, okay, let me eat 5 to 8 meals a day instead of small meals a day, instead of 3 big meals a day, I bet you will not get tired. As well as switching over that fried chicken and macaroni and cheese to maybe some grilled chicken and arugula, or some teriyaki salmon and some sweet potatoes. Like, really look at the food that you're eating. And if you get that full dumpy feeling, it's probably not the best thing for you at that point in time.
Yeah. Can you take days off, Esquire Meals? Because people depend on this, daily. So, like, do you have days off?
I think that is my biggest struggle. I can't. Let me rephrase that. I can, but I don't feel right. Because, as you said, people depend on me. And I've become a source for so many individuals that I kind of feel guilty for taking a day off. So if you text me and ask me, like some of my clients will be in the grocery store and ask me about some food that they're thinking about preparing. I'm like, okay, we'll try it this way. But as well as I had an event where it was my best friend's birthday. She was turning 30 this year. And I worked and went to her birthday events throughout the same weekend, and I was dog tired by Monday, because I felt guilty that if people knew that I was still in Baltimore, and not working or preparing their meals, that they would feel some sort of way.
Right.
And that's one of the biggest struggles that I have, and I also feel that a lot of other entrepreneurs have, is because we don't have that check every 2 weeks on the 15th and the 30th.
Right.
And so aside of trying to make sure that you have mortgage paid this month, what about in December when business is slow? You have to kind of fill the coffers as you can. And so the biggest joke around me is that Kenneth takes his laptop everywhere he goes. And if he gets 5 minutes to himself, he's asking the waiter or someone, where's the closest plug, so he can send out an email or do something. And I'm trying to figure out that type of balance there, because I feel so married to my clients and their well-being that I really want to be there for them. But I kind of have to figure out how I can still live and enjoy my life as a person under 30 can. And it's a struggle for me. So I'm still trying to find that balance. So no, there are no days off. I'm constantly like trying to find grants or new recipes, or figuring out how to market myself more, because I want to grow at this astronomical rate. And so sometimes all the time, my personal life is what is taking the burden of me not being able to just be a normal 29-year-old in 2018.
Man, I was asking myself this question earlier today. What's the difference between a meal prep and a meal plan? Is it the same thing? Like,
no. And a lot of people get it confused. And so I'll explain it today. So a meal plan is just, you go to a nutritionist, or even you can pull one offline, and it's just telling you what you should eat throughout the day. A meal prep is someone preparing it for you. And that's the difference there. It's a simple difference, but people get them misconstrued. And the meal prep is actually easier, because if you think about having to eat 5 to 8 meals a day for 7 days, that's 35 to 56 meals that you would necessarily have to prepare.
Right.
Who wants to prepare that other than me, because that's my profession now. But if you are in your 20s, you are a young professional, so you're working 8 hours plus a week, and we're in the DMV, so you're commuting an hour plus a week.
Right.
You don't want to come home and prepare your meals you don't want to prepare dinner. You don't want to prepare your meal for the next day. You don't want to prepare for the days going forward. So with me being a meal prep company, I kind of try to take the burden off of you, and I'm saying, okay, I'm going to make sure that you get your proteins, veggies, and carbs in the amount that you're a regular person is supposed to have it. And let me take that burden off you. Reclaim your time from the kitchen. You don't have to worry about grocery shopping. You don't have to worry about cooking it. You don't have to worry about cleaning it up. You get it in this nice plastic container that you can either throw away, recycle, or reuse whenever you want to put your leftovers in that container. Right. So I think that is the biggest difference between a meal plan, which will come from a nutritionist or your fitness guru if you're trying to perform on the stage or something, and they say you need to eat this, 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 and this. But you still have to kind of go to the grocery store and get the groceries, weigh it, do this, do that, right, and everything. But a meal prep company will go through and do all the hard work for you. So the only thing that you really have to do is heat it up and eat it.
Right. Don't you think that's making our society a lot lazy?
I think we're already lazy, but I also wouldn't call it lazy. I would just have to look at the times that we're currently in. I read an article the other day that said it's cheaper for millennials to go out and purchase food than it is for them to make it, because you have to think about the time that it takes from the grocery shop, all the stuff that I discussed earlier, but as well as food waste.
Right.
And because we like to be social, I mean, we like to go out to the parties and whatever it is that your life says, a lot of that food is just wasting in your refrigerator instead of you just having your set amount there for you and you eat it. Because we're single individuals, we live alone. Who needs 12 bananas or a whole case of sweet potatoes? Like, you're not going to eat all of that. And a lot of us aren't trained to kind of go through and put it in the bags and put it in the freezer like our moms used to do, and you pull it out. No, we're just, if it goes bad, we just chuck it and go back to the grocery store and buy another one. Or if we buy groceries, the main thing that we're doing now is going on Uber Eats, and we don't even care about that $4.99 delivery fee, because we just want a meal right now. Right. So that meal that would have cost us $8 if we would have gotten in the car and drove to the carryout is now costing us $16. It's double the amount, and we don't even care.
Which is cheaper, meal preps or going out for dinner every night?
For me, meal prep. So 6 meals with Esquire Meals will cost you around $65.
Okay. A week?
A week. I can go out to eat to dinner tonight by myself, and my meal will cost around $30 to $40. And that's not even including a drink and an appetizer. And you can only imagine if you and your girlfriend were to go on a date. Right. I know when I've gone on dates, that bill comes up to at least about $80 to $100, right? Ooh. Am I eating
That's
too much?
True.
Oh,
that's true. That's true.
And that's just one dinner that you may or may not be happy with. And I'm pretty sure it's not the best dinner of your life, but 10 meals at Esquire Meals will only cost you $105. Yeah. And that's lunch and dinner for the whole work week. And so look at that. And I talk to clients all the time, and they're like, well, I don't have enough money to meal prep, to get meal prep. Yes, you do. Because if you go to the grocery store, you're spending about at least $60 to $70 every time you go.
Right.
And then think about all the food that you're throwing away.
Why should anyone meal prep? Or why should anyone pick Esquire Meals for that?
Well, I'll answer your first question, then I'll go to the second one. So I feel like you should meal prep because you always want to have access to the food, to healthy food. Whenever you don't have a healthy food around, you tend to make bad decisions. And I'm one of the biggest culprits. As an entrepreneur, you have a very busy life. And sometimes I get stuck where I'm like, right now I'm starving. And if I don't have a meal close, I'm going to Chick-fil-A. I'm going to order the number one, and I want the fries extra large, and I want the Chick-fil-A sauce. So you make bad decisions when you're hungry. And so if you had that prep container right close to you, you could just heat it up and eat it. You've already spent your money on it. Just go ahead and eat it. You'll be fine. And you can go on throughout your day instead of going through that rut of trying to figure out, okay, I'm hungry. What am I going to eat? Now the struggle of trying to find something healthy to eat. That's very difficult in today's society. There's a McDonald's and a Burger King on every corner, but who's giving you fast food that is healthy for you? There's like none.
That's true.
Especially not in Baltimore, and I live in a food desert, but you should choose Esquire Meals is because our menu changes every week. And so our goal is to remove the monotony behind meal prep. When people think of meal prep, they think of chicken, broccoli, and rice. And so I encourage people to meal prep. And when I see it on Instagram, I think it's beautiful to see people meal prep, but it's also disheartening when I see that they have 36 meals and 18 of them are chicken, broccoli, and rice. Right? And so you can only imagine by Wednesday, you're not eating that chicken, broccoli, and rice. You're going to chuck that in the trash and you're going to go to Chick-fil-A and order that number one I just discussed because you're tired of it.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the biggest pitfalls with when people meal prep on their own, but as well as when they go to other companies, is because other companies' menus are very stagnant. And so by week 3, you've ordered everything on the menu compared to Esquire Meals where the menu changes every week. So if you kind of miss out on a week, it's like, darn, I missed the jerk shrimp. Hopefully it'll come back soon, but at least you have a whole new regimen of foods that you may have never tried. We have like tempo wings for some of our vegan clients, or we go to a pesto couscous or some vegetable quinoa. These things that aren't normal in our culture. We did not eat quinoa growing up or couscous. I didn't know what tempo was until I had to be like at least 25. And so these things that you aren't really accustomed to, where you can say, hey, Kenneth, let me try one of those vegan meals. And I can kind of baby step you into vegan if you watched What the Health. And now you're scared that everything that you touch is going to kill you.
Right.
Or if you want to try a different diet, you can send it in an email. Like I said, okay, yeah, we can prepare that for you and have an expert create it for you instead of you trying it on your own. You've went out and you've purchased tamarind that you would never use again, or some the recipes always call for this weird thing that you have to go to the international store for, and the man has to go under the counter to find it for you, dust it off, and then you used it once, and now you've spent $15 on this sauce that you're never going to use again. Let us do that because it's easier for me to make 300 meals in a day and give you that variety that you want compared to you trying to create the variety for yourself on a Sunday, because I promise you, you're not going to make yourself 6 different meals on a Sunday. You might make 3 chicken, broccoli, and rices, and maybe 3 salmon and spinaches. But you're not really going to be like, I want different meals throughout this whole week. It's too much work.
I feel like meal prep is just one half of the battle, right? How well does meal prep work with workouts?
So meal prep is like 80%. It's a huge part of it because you can change your body composition in your life just off the food that you put into your body. But as well as, I'd say that's about 80%. And working out is 20% because you have to stay active. You have to stay limber. And so living with my godmother, she taught me that a lot of times us as human beings, we get into this sedentary lifestyle where we forget to move and put breath into our bodies. And when she talks about breath, she talks about energy and moving limber and all of this. And like I told you, she was in her 50s and doing handstands and stuff. And without that type of movement, our joints are going to get creaky. Your knees don't move like they used to. When you stand up, your back kind of gets sore. And whenever you try to do something that, going up a flight of steps, you get winded. And it's really because you're not using those muscles like you used to. You're not putting that energy back into your body and finding ways to stay as limber as you were when you were 6 and 7. Because, when we were 6 and 7, you were doing backflips on trampolines. You fall, you bounce back up. But we've gotten so stuck into being on a computer, sitting in a desk, that these joints aren't moving like that. And it's not, getting older is part of it, but it's really because we're not using it. And when you don't use it, it gets stuck. And then when it gets stuck, when you try to use it, it hurts. And
I don't want to hear that whole getting older thing, because if LeBron could be at his prime right now, at 33, playing the way he's playing, then anybody could do it.
And how often is LeBron in the gym?
Man, he's in there often.
Exactly, and at the same as you don't use it, you lose it, right? You know? And I think that's really, really important, and we've gotten away from that. And I'm really nervous about the children that are growing up now when we have so many devices that cause us to stay stagnant.
Yeah,
right? You have video games and cell phones and computers. These things cause you to sit right there for hours. Growing up, I'm from Charlotte, North Carolina. I rode my bike all throughout the city. Don't tell my mom that. That bicycle was my mode of transportation, and it got me everywhere I needed to be, compared to jumping on trampolines, playing basketball, doing all the things that children of our times did. I don't see them doing that anymore. And it's like, well, you're not even doing that at 6. And so if you're talking about your back hurt at 6, why?
Right.
Why are you, I mean, I was a fat kid growing up, but why are you winded at 6? Like you are in the best shape of your life when you're a child. And so you should use that to your advantage and figure out ways for your children to stay active and find ways to engage. And I think that's what's being lost. So we don't kind of engage in face-to-face conversation with people. But as well as even in our older age, find ways to either go to the gym. And if you don't like the gym, go to a yoga class. My mom's up here. She calls it for an intensive to figure out this whole healthy lifestyle. And so my goal was to, while she's here for 2 weeks, we're going to find 6 different workout things to do. So we go to the gym, then we'll go to a yoga class, then we'll go cycling, and then we'll go to a kangaroo bounce. So you can find your niche. I'm not saying that you have to go to the gym 6 days a week. I just want you to find 30 to 45 minutes to kind of stay active and limber. So if we go take a class, let's take a class and mix it up. I don't like monotony in my food or in my workout. So you'll see me trying to stand on my head in one workout, and then I'll be at kangaroo bounce and then the trap yoga or something. Like, have fun and engage and also be social.
Yeah. Real quick, let's switch it up real quick, right? On a business standpoint, the first year of Esquire Meals, like, how was it? Was it, in terms of revenue, was it, lucrative, or was it a lot of struggle?
So the first year was after I left that crazy job, and it paid the bills. So I wasn't really looking for it to be lucrative or anything. I didn't have a job for 2 years. And so the goal was just to survive. And one of my sayings, one thing that I say often is when you have to kill what you eat, you hunt differently. And so now that this is really truly my bread and butter, and I don't plan on going back into the corporate world, I kind of changed the business model and how I respond to things. So the last year, it was very lucrative. I had a statement that said I think we had made $20,000 to $30,000, right? And this is while I was working in corporate America. So I'm like, wow. This can be lucrative if you put the time and energy into it. And anything that you want to follow or your passion, it can make money for you if you put the time and dedication in it.
For someone looking to go into meal prepping, let's just say looking to do a different demographic, right? Like, let's say African dishes, for example. Do you think that's possible?
Yes, I really do. And the only thing that you have to do is look at alternatives. I think Southern cuisine is one of the hardest cuisines to make healthy, but I found a way to make macaroni and cheese healthy because I love it. Or a baked fried chicken. So it's truly looking at what is the recipe that your grandmother handed down to you. Now let's switch out that whole milk for almond milk. Let's switch out this white salt for Himalayan pink salt. What things do we really truly need in this dish to make it work? And what things can we do without? But as well as with cooking in general, you can't be scared to make a mistake. The worst thing that can happen is it tastes horrible. You throw it in the trash and you try again. Like, nobody is going to take you out back and shoot you. You'll be fine. It's just going to taste nasty. And then just try to work on the recipe again. I've made a number of dishes that taste horrible. I won't put them in somebody's meals. But I'm like, okay, don't do that again. And let's course correct. That's all cooking is just really trying to test different combinations together and figuring out what works for you, because as well as what tastes horrible to me may taste amazing to you.
It's like a scientific experiment pretty much.
Exactly. That's all it is.
Healthy is good, right? Eating wise, healthy is good, but there's the other factor, which is like not disposable, but recycling, for example. So you use plastics. Are these plastics microwavable?
They are microwavable, so and they are also recyclable. And my goal was making them microwavable and using the plastic containers that I use. I've tried to go to some of the biodegradable ones, but when you have food that has like a sauce or something, those biodegradable ones, they kind of deteriorate. And so if you have this in your gym bag and you want to heat it up really fast while you're at the gym and eat it because you're on a time schedule with your eating, that really doesn't work for you. And so I want to make it as easy and best for my clients as possible to make sure that the quality of the food stays the same and you're not ending up with some sauce in the bottom of your bag, because the food always needs to be with you.
Right. How long can you refrigerate this
so the food can stay fresh from 4 to 5 days depending on what it is.
Yeah. So do you when you're done with the container, do you throw it away or do you take them and reuse them?
I tell my clients to keep them. I don't want to be responsible for cleaning someone else's. Then someone gets sick down the line or whatever. There are other meal prep companies that does have a recycling program. You get a certain percentage off. But for me, myself, I say you keep them. And whenever you want to test out meal prepping, you already have the containers in your fridge. I grew up with my mother using the Country Crock butter Tupperwares over and over again. You go to the refrigerator, you think it's butter, but it's actually like some pork and beans or something. It's like just use them. That you can reuse them. I don't want them back because if someone else gets sick, I don't want that to fall on me.
So far, how is Esquire Meals impacting the community, especially in Baltimore?
Well, it's really interesting. I wasn't expecting it to have this big of an impact, but it's truly growing into a beast that I'm loving. And so now we're to the point where we're actually going to be hopefully doing cooking demonstrations to different communities to show them, okay, this is what you can get from your local grocery store. And as I told you before, I feel like Baltimore is one big food desert, but I live in one of the biggest food deserts in Baltimore. And so there's like one grocery store within a 6 to 10 mile radius. And everybody goes to this grocery store. So what can I get from this grocery store and make that's healthy? And I think that's really the thing, is that we have, although the grocery stores that are there may not be the best grocery stores, they're not, your Whole Foods and all of this, but the product is there.
Right.
We just need to figure out how to cook it. So now Esquire Meals is getting to the point where we're going into the community and teaching people how to cook healthy. How do you take that sweet potato and do something more than baking it and putting butter and brown sugar and sugar, all this stuff in it to make it a sweet baked, but make sweet potato fries. So that's one avenue. But as well as I had the chance to interview for a $40,000 grant for a technology innovation that Esquire Meals is coming up with.
That's great.
And so there were 200 applicants, and they narrowed it down to 10 finalists, and I was one of the 10 finalists to interview. And one of the things that I want to do with this application that I'm building is that I want the company that I'm partnering with, and they already have this plan in place, to use Black boys in Baltimore to code and build this application. And I want Esquire Meals to be a social enterprise. Like, that's the type of impact that I want to have in the community, because it's not all about cooking, but how can your skills help me with my skills?
Right.
And so that's where Esquire Meals is going, and I hope that it continues to grow in that position.
Here in Stock in the Middle, we love collaboration. We've had Nick, the nutritionist, on here, who also is from Baltimore, and she's striving to bring healthier and better foods to the food deserts in Baltimore. I don't know if you've heard of her, Nick, the nutritionist. You should definitely look.
I'll look her up.
Yeah, she's doing the exact same thing. And I was wondering if with someone like Nick, the nutritionist, would you be willing to collaborate? To create workshops or events to promote healthier lifestyles in Baltimore.
I would love to, and that's like some of the things that I've been doing with Allie with I Heart Health.
Yeah, shout out to I Heart Health.
She's an amazing person.
Yeah, definitely.
But we've been working together to figure out, okay, this can be something that can be bigger than us, and it's not all about making money. It should be about how can we change our culture for the good. And so with Allie and her professional background and making sure that all your vitals are correct and, your blood pressure, and she kind of forwards people to me to say, hey, well, if you need meal prep, go to Kenneth. And so I'll talk to you. I have no problem talking to people and telling them the benefits of food. It's not like it's going to be a big secret. It's out there. I have this, I call it a Bible, but it's like volumes of how the health benefits of different types of food. And I'll go through, okay, you have high cholesterol. Well, try to make you some ginger tea, and this is how you would make some ginger tea. Of course, that's nothing that Esquire Meals makes, or I can't make money off of it. but your health is more important than me getting another dollar.
Right.
And so I really want people to figure out ways how they can continue to be healthy throughout the whole process, because it's going to last far long, hopefully past me.
Right. How do you get these food products to your consumers? I remember I was talking to Allie and she said, oh, like on a Sunday, and you even told me Sunday's your most busiest day because that's when you deliver food products. Deliveries are your only means, or do you do shipping too?
So shipping is scary. The process is really interesting. So on Wednesdays, I give the new menu, right? And we separate our menu in proteins, veggies, and carbs. And we do that so you can truly customize your experience. I don't want to say you have to have the salmon with the spinach, with the sweet potatoes, because you might not like spinach. You may want it with broccoli. So we separate it that way so the consumer can go through and say, for meal 1, I want the salmon, the bok choy, and the brown rice. And for meal 2, I want X, X, and X. And so by Friday, all orders have to be in. And I'm very pushy on getting your orders in by 7 o'clock on Friday, because by 7 o'clock, I'm going through and I'm tallying, okay, I need this many salmons, this many chickens, and I'm going through because I grocery shop for everything fresh on Saturday. I don't believe in any type of products to be sitting over. I want it to be fresh for you because it may have to last you to the following Friday.
Right.
So it can't be sitting in my refrigerator from the Friday before. And so we shop for everything fresh from our local farmers markets and different international markets, because I feel like international markets have some of the best produce available. And then on Sunday is like game day. I'm up at 4 o'clock in the morning and we're cooking it fresh on Sunday morning. And then we're usually done by 5 o'clock. And so we have 2 pickup locations. One is in Baltimore, one is in Laurel, but as well as we'll deliver it directly to your house if you want, for a small fee of $15. In addition, we do have some gyms that we partner with. And so the gym that we partner with in Pennsylvania, we take them up to Pennsylvania Monday morning. So we're on the road around 3 o'clock in the morning, dropping them off to Pennsylvania so that their first gym session around 6, they have their meals available to them. And shipping is something that we're trying to get into, but I'm very particular about my craft and about the experience that the user will have. And so because once it gets out of my hands, I can't control what it will look like.
Right.
I'm very, very nervous because the thing that I don't want to hear is that, you got your food and it's all jumbled up and messed up, or it's rancid and you can't have it and I have to send out another package. And so that's something that we've been testing, and we'll begin testing more with snacks. But it truly makes me nervous because I can't control it. And so my main goal is to make sure everyone in Baltimore has the Esquire meal in their hand. And if I can get that, then I can kind of try to expand that reach. But I do have people that are reaching out in Louisiana and California, even New York, like, hey, can you start shipping? And I'm like, that's a good idea. I would really like to, but it really, truly makes me nervous. One, with the quality, but as well as the price.
Right.
Because a meal can't stay in transit 3 to 4 days. You need to have that next day.
Right.
And next day shipping.
Or same day.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's expensive. And so you don't want to pay $45 for shipping for a $65 meal package. Like, you've just paid $105 for 6 meals, and that's not feasible. So it's really trying to figure out that math on that end, but as well as making sure that when you receive it, it looks the same as if you came and picked it up from one of our locations.
Yeah. Esquire in 5 years.
That's what, 2023? Yikes. I want a storefront. And the goal for the storefront is for it to be in one of the most challenging neighborhoods in Baltimore. And I'm doing this on purpose because I want it to be a social enterprise. I want to employ people from the neighborhoods so that they can work there and take these skills back to their homes and their families. But as well as I want to embark change. So that's one of the main goals for Esquire Meals. But hopefully we can bring on shipping. And bring different type of community events. I've had a dream or an idea of a fitness studio to where people can come and just work out. And not just the gym type of stuff, but try things that they would have never come to the hood, right? The yoga trapeze stuff or the kangaroo bounce that some of us enlightened individuals who have gone off and tried, but your normal everyday people in Baltimore don't get a chance to try because it's unaffordable. They're not coming there. They don't want to come there, and they don't want us trying that. And so the goal is for everyone to be enlightened and have some type of experience that I have or have had in the past, because I think that I'm very, very lucky.
This is a question I asked on Stuck in the Middle because I feel like at the end of the show, if I don't ask this question, I haven't really, achieved a goal. And that is, what is success to you?
Happiness.
Happiness.
That's all it can really be. It's not a dollar amount. It's not the flashy things. It's not the beautiful people. It's really just being content in what you did. In saying that I did this and I stand firm in whatever I did. I told you before, my parents sometimes look at me crazy. You're a lawyer and you're cooking for people. But I'm happy. I really enjoy everything that I'm doing. And I get to wake up every day with a smile on my face compared to getting on the Marc train, going into DC and having someone telling me that I did something wrong. I get to be the master of my life. And I think that that's where true happiness comes, because we get into this rat race a lot.
Right.
And we're just trying to figure out ways how to continuously pay bills or make someone else happy. No, just look inside, and whatever makes you happy, do it.
Do it. How can people reach you on social?
So we have a Facebook page, which is Esquire Meals, but as well as our Instagram is Esquire Meals as well. And I always tell people to go to the Instagram, because that's when you get to see all the pretty pictures. Hopefully you don't scroll back to the pictures from 2011. But you get to see what Esquire Meals is all about. And then our website is www.esquiremeals.com. If you have any questions, you can send an email to info@esquiremeals.com. But truly, we really like to have a conversation with anybody who is interested or just has basic questions about life. I want it to be more than just about food, because I've had the privilege of experiencing so many different types of people and different experiences. And so if I can help anybody in any kind of way, I'll jump to the opportunity to talk to somebody, because you never know what nuggets you lay down can change them and push them into the right direction.
You heard it from him. Oh, wait, one last question. And I was going through your website and the blog section. There's nothing on there yet. Is there a reason for that?
Yes. The blog section is going to be different recipes and cooking videos. And so I worked with Ali the other day to put together my first cooking video, which was a diuretic salad. I call it Esquire Summer Salad, which to help you, drop some water weight if you've eating too many chips or anything. And so the goal really is for people to come there and to have little takeaways. I tried this salad from Esquire Meals before. How can I recreate it? Or I need to try something different. I'm trying to figure out what's the goal for the blog. But I really want cooking stuff there, but I want it to be more than just that, what we're doing in the community.
Right.
And as we continue to grow, and hopefully my team grows bigger, because we're all strapped for time, that section will definitely be filled out.
Right. Shameless plug. I hope this podcast also finds itself in our blog post.
I got you.
Well, Steph, Kenneth, thank you for coming through and talking about the podcast.
Me.
It was great having you. Ladies and gentlemen, Kenneth Watson, CEO and founder of Esquire Meals, a gourmet health conscious meal prep company based out in Baltimore, providing healthier life choices for everybody. As always, you've been watching and listening to Stuck in the Middle podcast. Don't forget to review us on every social platform. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter. Subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. Email us for questions, referral, concerns at sitmpodcast237@gmail.com. That's sitmpodcast237@gmail.com. This Sunday, Easter Sunday, happy Easter to everybody in advance, and to you too as well.
Thank you.
We will be having Nikki, Billie, founder of All Things in Cara, the #1 source of Cara print fashion. Until then, you've been listening to Stuck in the Middle. We out.